Hello, everyone. I am so sorry that my camera is not working. I couldn't figure it out, but it is recording my screen. So I wanted to share that I just finished grading the Unit 3 tests, and I also went ahead to calculate the average class scores. So the first standard was to simplify linear expressions, and the average score was a 2.66, which is pretty good, close to a 3, which is right where we want to be at. The solving two-step equations was our best. Our average was above the 3, which is fantastic. Solving multi-step equations, almost a 3, just of a sliver below that. Equations with variables on both sides is a 2.64. That was our lowest score for the average, but still pretty high, still rounds up to a 3. And then identifying the number of solutions, that was a 2.69. So really good scores overall. Thank you so much to those of you that showed your work. Most of you did. Those of you that still haven't figured out how to show your work, please do that, because if you have the wrong answer and you show your work, then a lot of times I'm able to look through your work and see, oh, you have the wrong answer because you forgot to copy a negative. And then I still give you most of the credit for that problem because I see you do know how to do the problem. You just made a simple, tiny error, but because you showed your work, I can still give you credit. I can still say, yes, I have evidence that they're able to do that skill. So showing your work is really important. So let me show you how you can find your test scores. So I brought up our Schoology page for math, and I'm using an example fake student for our class. You would go over here to grades, and then you would see underneath the summative, which is 70% of your grade, here's our Unit 1, Unit 2, and you want to find the Unit 3, which are the last 5 items that are listed. And so this student, Kathy, she scored a 2 on equations with variables on both sides, a 3 on identifying the number of solutions, a 3, 3, and a 4. Now, if you want to say, okay, what is equations with variables on both sides? What does it mean if I scored a 2? If you click on that standard, that Unit 3 test, equations with variables on both sides, it explains that this is the rubric you were scored on. So she scored a 2, which means she scored right here. The student can solve two-step equations with variables on both sides, including integers. But when Kathy tried to do it with rational coefficients, like fractions and decimals, she wasn't able to do it. So that's what it means that Kathy is right here on her ability with variables on both sides of the equation. It also explains here to look at your work closer, go back to goformative.com and see the comments and correct answers on your Unit 3 expressions and equations test. So let me show you an example of what that looks like. So if you log into GoFormative, you should see the Unit 3 expressions and equations test listed at the top, and there should just be this little arrow with a box around it, meaning that I graded it and returned it to you. So you can click where you said submitted here, that blue button, and it does let you know that you're no longer able to edit it, but you can take a look at how you did. So if I scroll down here, down to question 2, for instance, this student wrote 24 minus 11b. The correct answer was 24 minus b. And here was my feedback as an instructor. This would be right if it was negative 5b. But negative 6b plus 5b equals negative 1b, not negative 11b. Use a calculator to check your math next time. And I would keep scrolling down. They got this one wrong too. Here is what was written. Here were the 2 correct answers that I was accepting. Great, but you forgot to include the variable behind negative 3. Also show your work next time. So if these match pretty closely, like for instance, if we switch the order, like negative 1/4 minus 3w, I still gave you credit for that. So you can see here where you fell. If you scored a 2 for this simplifying linear expressions, then you probably only got the level 2 problem right. And the level 3 problem, level 4 problem, you missed. That's why you scored a 2. And so that's where those scores come from. If you have a question about how to figure out why you got a score or look back at your scores, please just email me and I'd be happy to meet with you to walk through it. I know it can be confusing since we all come from different backgrounds, and this virtual testing is very new to us as well. Okay, overall, I want to say great job. Remember, you are allowed to retake anything you like from math class this year. You just need to contact me. If you want to retake a certain section, you only have to retake the sections you want. So if you only scored poorly on the simplifying linear expressions, then email me and say, I want to retake the standard focusing on simplifying linear expressions. Then I would give you an activity to help you review and reflect on your abilities with this standard. We would meet together to go over your work to make sure you have everything understood so you'll score better the second time. And then you would retake just this section, which just would be 3 problems because we're only doing that standard. So if you're interested in doing a retake, feel free to send me an email. Great work, and I'll see you next time. Bye.